I believe that the expectation you have in others is stopping you from progressing. See, in most of the things that we do, we have an expectation from ourselves, from a situation, from our spouse, our friends, our family. And, when we carry that expectation to have, some level of meaning that we assign to it, we we go through our daily lives with an expectation of simple things. Something as simple as you pay your light bill, you expect the electricity to be on. You go to work and you expect to be paid for the time that you spend there. You expect hard work will get you somewhere. And when those expectations stop being met or are not met to what we're thinking they should be, then that draws into question, our ability, our, our dedication, our trust in ourselves. And so, when you start to, meet the expectations you set for yourself, that can change, your entire mindset. That can change your entire path of, where you think you might be going. But the real expectation that I think harms us is the expectation that we put in others. I've spent a lot of time in my life, sort of dedicating myself to this career that I'm in, dedicating myself to, being, you know, sort of trustworthy and loyal and hardworking. And I have put the idea that others are going to recognize it. Others are going. I'm going to be okay because others will recognize it, and then, you know, give me a raise, give me a position, back me in some kind of way. But what I have found and what I've experienced is when that expectation that I've put out there doesn't get met, it sort of can throw me off kilter. I get real upset by, thinking that if I'm working hard and I'm meeting, if there's a deadline placed and I meet it or exceed it, I expect somebody to, you know, or have expected in the past for somebody to step up and say, "Hey, great job, well done." Or if there's an opportunity to go do something, in my past, I've expected that I would, somebody would say, "Hey, hey, come with me," or "Here, why don't you go do this?" And what you do is you start putting yourself in a position where you're telling yourself these stories. And then when those stories aren't met, or when that expectation you have isn't met, it really can sort of stall you in and sort of, I don't know, ground you in this myth of, the things that I'm doing, are they worth doing? Why would I do them if nobody's going to recognize them? And so when you start to have an expectation that falls outside of, who you truly are or what you truly want, but yet you identify with that expectation, it can really stop you from progressing. If find yourself in a situation where you don't know what's next, but you're working hard in the career you're in or in the job you're in, and then you place an expectation that that career or job is going to move you to a certain place or potentially provide you with happiness, and it doesn't happen, then what was that expectation worth, and why would you bank on that when obviously nothing's guaranteed. And, the way you can feel if an expectation doesn't get met is, I mean, that can really stop you for quite a while. I know it has me. I know that when, I get this, I tell myself this story. I put myself in a situation where, I'm expecting, I'll give you an example. I was in a position where I was told that I was going to be moved into a director's position. I continued working. I continued doing everything that was asked of me. And then when it came time to actually fill that position, once again, I was told twice that I would have it. I was expecting to be put in there. I had an expectation of the president of the company to put me into that position. And when that did not happen, it probably took me a good 6 months to actually get past that. I mean, it stalled me for a long time, and I just got to the idea and the belief that, well, what's it worth? What exactly is it worth to work hard at something, potentially something that you don't want to be doing anyways, but it's that sort of that carrot, that next step that we think is going to provide us with something, that next level that is going to give us some notoriety, some ranking that will once again give us that thing that we've been looking for and that we're missing. And it happened. It's happened several times to me. And really what I ended up having to do is I had to start leaning back on myself in those situations. Now, I had no real idea how to do that. And through the work that I've done, I've learned to recognize when I'm putting unrealistic expectations either on a person or a situation, which can, that can be applied to both. It's the person that told me, hey, you're going to get this director's position. And so I had an expectation that they were going to follow through on that, which they didn't. Or there can be a situation where, you've been around, you've been loyal, show up every day, work hard. And so you sort of put yourself into a situation where you are expecting to be recognized for it, rewarded for it. And when that doesn't come through, it takes a lot to have some self-worth and some self-identity to be able to sort of recognize when you're doing that and stop relying on those unreliable expectations. Not only unrealistic, but unreliable expectations. It's really difficult, to be honest about it, that we all set expectations on most everything that we do. I mean, do you remember the Christmas mornings where you're having an expectation of getting this specific toy? Or do you remember, back when you were growing up and you're in school and you had this expectation that you're going to ask this other individual to a dance, and they either said no, or somebody asked them before, or you just chickened out and doing it. You had this expectation that you were going to go to this dance with this individual, or you went for a job interview and you felt you nailed it and you had this expectation of getting that job, and then you didn't. And have you ever stopped to think or ask yourself, why do I keep doing that? What am I searching for? What do I feel that expectation that I create is going to provide me? And yet what lessons am I learning from it not coming through? I was told years ago by somebody that it's okay to have expectations of your children. Like, set expectations for them. You expect them to clean your room or their room. You expect them to, do their chores. You expect them to get good grades. And set expectations and remind them of them. And it gives them good, realistic goals to reach for, as long as you follow through on holding steady to that expectation. And in return, what if you sort of turn that around on yourself and set expectations for yourself? Like, you expect yourself to figure out what your next step is. You expect yourself to figure out what your goals, what your values, what your vision. You expect that to happen. So, why not spend that energy instead of setting unrealistic expectations to the outside world that you really mostly have no control over? Why not set those expectations back in yourself where you can control how that comes out? So, my challenge to you is to sit down, write out a few expectations that you can have of yourself, and start working towards them. If you get stuck, or if you have any questions, or if you just want to explore a little bit more, please feel free to reach out. Let me know in the comments. And until we talk again, live life like you mean it.